Imran,
Hello, Andrew.
how are you, my friend?
I'm really good. How about you?
I'm very good. What's been happening, mate?
A lot of projects, busy every day. That's
Mhm.
really good.
Mhm.
So it keeps your mind busy,
Mhm.
and you get to do a lot of stuff that's really shown in the screen.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people don't know, clients and team members. You've got a great story, my friend. You've got a great backstory. Take me back. Tell me a bit more about Imran as a kid. Where
Ah,
did it all start?
so let's go with when I graduated my high school back
Yep.
then.
In Nepal.
Yeah, in Nepal, back in Nepal.
Whereabouts?
It's a small place called Sangja.
Mhm.
That's like 30 something kilometers from Pokhara.
And is it like a town? Is it a city?
It's a small town.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I graduated from Sangja, and then I moved to Pokhara to do my bachelor's.
So you graduated high school.
High school.
Big school? Well, not really.
You could complete your high school there, and do you know the intermediate level? That's
Yeah,
11
yeah,
to
yeah.
12.
Yeah.
I did it from Sangja as well,
Yeah.
and then moved to Pokhara to do my bachelor's.
Yeah. So was that like a uni?
Kind of. It was affiliated to one of the universities in London.
Oh, nice.
That's University of Portsmouth.
Yeah.
And then 2 years I spent in Pokhara doing my bachelor's, and on the final year I went to Kathmandu, which is the
Nice.
capital city of Nepal, to
Yeah.
finish my bachelor's. I
Mhm.
did it 1 year there,
Mhm.
and after finishing my bachelor's in 2016, 17, I'm blurry there, I started applying for Australia, and on 2018 November 3rd I landed to Australia for the first time.
Nice. So paint the picture,
Yeah.
because for a lot of people, Nepal is a place that they've never ever been or not heard much about.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, apart from Mount Everest and maybe a bit of Kathmandu.
Mm-hmm.
But paint the picture of like the type of city or the type of town that you're growing up in.
So my town is basically, its name is Sangha itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really small town which is located in like middle of the hills, so it's a little bit cold there,
Yeah.
and on summer it gets a little bit warm, but there are winds flowing in,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see the mountain ranges when you wake up in the morning. And if you go south from there, you'll get to Lumbini,
Yeah.
which is the birthplace of Gautam Buddha, if you know him.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go like towards Pokhara, you can go to Kathmandu and all other places there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a small town. There's a river, big river called River Andihola, and yeah, you can go to many places from there.
Mm.
It's like a little hub from where you can go to different places.
And for you, so when you left, what were you, maybe like 17, 18?
Yes,
Yeah.
17.
So for most people who are 17, 18,
Mm-hmm.
what's the general like career trajectory from that point?
So if that really depends on the family. So if
Mm.
you come from a family that prioritizes education the most, they send their children to pursue education either to Pokhara, Kathmandu, to the universities like Tribhuvan University, which is the biggest university in Nepal.
Mm-hmm.
And it also depends on what the child actually wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
So if the child wants to do doctor, they mostly send them to like Bangladesh, which is really good for doctors and stuff.
Yeah.
If they want to do chartered accountancy, chartered accountant, they send them to Bangalore
Yeah.
in India.
Yeah.
And if they do want to do engineering, they send them to Kathmandu for engineering. They've got really good courses there.
Yeah. So it's very much a case of you generally leave
Yeah,
that place.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's not big and there's not many things to do there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Did you enjoy growing up there though?
Yes,
Yeah.
I had a lot of friends. Many of them are like spread all across the globe now. Some of them are in America, some of them are in Canada,
Mm.
Australia, New Zealand, Japan. we're diversified.
That's great. And when you're growing up, do you always talk about one day I want to live in Australia or one day I want to live in America?
Yeah.
That's sort of the vibe.
Yeah. Yep. So when we were kids back then, when I was in Sangha, we would talk about like getting our, basically we say a card. So we would talk about getting green card in America or getting settled in Europe or Australia. I really wanted to go to America, but seeing things there, I changed my decision once I was mature enough. So I persuaded coming to Australia.
So at what point did you you think Australia is the place for you?
When I was studying my bachelor's, I did my research on my own, seeing all of the trains.
Yeah.
So, being a Muslim, a lot of my Muslim friends back when I was there, they chose Australia because it's a multicultural country and you don't find racism here. That's why I liked Australia, and then I persuaded coming here.
Yeah.
That's one of the main reasons, and I love the surrounding of Australia. There, Nepal being a landlocked country, we don't have any seas there, and I really love going to beaches here and seeing the beauty of the sea.
For sure.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Australia is a multicultural country. How have you found it since you arrived here? Because obviously you did some research and that's what your research is telling you. Have you found it be very multicultural and open or not as much as you thought?
Yeah, I found it the way I researched it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was back in university, I had friends from Myanmar, Bhutan, Bangladesh, India, China.
Yeah.
Even from America as well. Yeah. And I was quite amazed to see a lot of different people coming in together, studying together, doing things.
Yeah.
I was really amazed.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's cool. And so you finished high school, and at that point, do you know you want to pursue coding or in development or not really?
So when I finished high school, when I finished my intermediate level, that's 11, 12, I had the option to either become a chartered accountant or pursue engineering. Yeah. I really wanted to create something of my own. I invested time in seeing videos of different YouTubers building stuff from HTML, CSS. So I really wanted to try that one out, and I told my father that I want to do engineering, and he supported me. He always supports me, and he got me into a university, in a college there in Pokhara, which was affiliated to University of Portsmouth. And from there, my journey of coding started. Yeah. That was back in 2014, 15, yeah.
And how did you find it? Did you enjoy it straight away?
Straight away.
Yeah. And how long were you studying at uni for then, or the college or the uni?
So the university was for 3 years. Yeah. Basically, what happens in Nepal is that you've got bachelor's, that's 4 years of time. Yeah. But we had 3 years, so I had to go to the Tribhuvan University to have my documents validated to prove that my bachelor's, even though it's 3 years, it's equivalent to the bachelor's that's in Nepal. That's for 4 years. Yeah. But apart from that, it was really good.
And so you finished your degree?
Yep.
And then you started applying
for university in Australia. Yeah.
And how long did that process take?
It took me around 6 months. Yeah. I had to prepare for IELTS. Yeah. I did it. And after that, I had to sort out the documents that were needed for the Department of Home Affairs. And it took me around 6 months, a lot of pain. And I applied for visa on October 2018. And within a month, I got the visa. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. And during that 6 months of applications, are you working or are you just putting all your focus on getting the visa?
I was putting all of my focuses on getting documents sorted out, because a lot of the documents that the Department of Home Affairs need is government documents. Yeah. The government, getting the government document is really time consuming. Even if it's a small document, they take a couple of days for even a single document. So that's what made it stretch to 6 months.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And so at this point, are you still living away from home? Or
No,
did
I
you
was
go back
in home.
So you went back home.
Yeah.
How did you find that? Because was that 3 years away from home?
Yeah. Luckily, I was staying in my mom's relatives there in Pokhara and in Kathmandu as well. So I felt home even if I was away from home.
Yeah, for sure. And your family were obviously super excited once you got the opportunity to move over to Australia?
Yeah, my whole family was excited except for my mom. She was a bit
of course.
sad when I got the visa.
Yeah.
Excited and sad at the same time. She cried and I was like, no, don't cry.
Because do you have any other siblings?
Yes, I have a small sister.
Yep.
Yeah.
And is she still in Nepal?
Yes, she's still in Nepal. But yeah, she's married.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yes. And so do you reckon she'll ever come over here or move overseas, or do you reckon she'll stay in Nepal?
I persuade her every now and then, but I don't know. I leave the decision to her.
Yeah.
But I persuade her to come here.
That's cool. And so you obviously then got the visa to come over here,
Mm-hmm.
and you studied here.
Yes.
What was the biggest like shock that you had when you came to Australia from like a cultural or a lifestyle point of view?
The biggest shock here was, of course, the food here.
Mm-hmm.
Because me being a Muslim,
Of
I
course.
have to persuade halal food.
Yeah.
So it was really hard for me to like go to restaurants here. I really wanted to try new foods, new cuisines that I had never seen in my life before. But
Yeah.
everywhere I go, I have to ask the restaurant that if it's halal or not. And 99% of the time, it's not halal, so I can't try anything.
Mm. And have you found that's improved or hasn't really changed?
Nah, I don't think so. Because there are not too many like places where they do dedicated halal stuffs.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the same.
Yeah, for sure. And what's the Muslim community like over here? Have you sort of been able to get involved with the community?
Not really, because most of the Muslim community here, they live in the south part on Karabi.
Yeah.
And that's way far away from where I live. So
Yeah.
I don't have any like time to get there, get socialized and things like that.
Yeah, for sure.
But in the occasion of Eid,
Yep.
we obviously go to pray in Latwitz Mosque there,
Mm-hmm.
and there are a lot of Muslims, so we just hang out for a day,
Yep.
talk to each other, introduce ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're back.
For sure. So you came over, and how long did you study in Australia?
2 years.
2 years.
Yes.
Doing your masters, is
Yes.
that right?
Yes.
Yeah. And how did you find that?
Yeah, since I had been exposed to international education style back in my bachelor's, because it was affiliated to University of Portsmouth there. The studying system there on my bachelor's level and here was like practically the same.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like too shocked to see this education system here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I found out the hard truth that even though you have a degree, and if you don't have the skills, nobody's going to hire you. Yeah.
For sure. Because what did you complete your masters in?
Masters of Information Technology
Yeah.
on mobile apps development.
Yeah. And at that point, did you know that you wanted to go straight into mobile app development, or you still a bit unsure?
I was trying to do like mobiles and web both at the same time, but
Yeah.
I didn't have like fixed direction of where I really wanted to go.
Yeah.
And after spending 1 year doing nothing, like doing just regular jobs, I started doing my professional year, which I have to do as an international student to get like 5 points for permanent residency.
Mm-hmm.
I met my mentor, Anil Naidu.
Yeah.
He gave me a lot of motivations and really persuaded to me to invest my time on like developing my skills.
Yeah.
And then I started doing React Native from that point there on.
Mm-hmm.
And when I felt comfortable, I started applying for jobs, and after 7-8 months of doing React Native by myself, I was hired.
And then the team at Moonward came along.
Yes.
Take me through your Moonward journey so far.
I don't know if you know that or not, but you guys were Connect apps back then, and you had posted the same position back when I was like applying for jobs like for 3 months ago when I got the job.
Yeah.
And I thought I applied to that job, but I applied to another job through Seek, and I was like, my application is not there. But 3 months later, luckily.
So we had an ad that you thought you applied to, but you hadn't.
Nah.
Nice.
I was like, when I saw my application history on Seek, I was searching for Connect apps and it wasn't there.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? But 3 months later, luckily, you advertised for that same position again, and I straight away did that.
Yeah, for sure. And I remember we caught up a couple of times. We had a chat, a bit of a conversation. How were you feeling when you got the role and you got your first opportunity in a development company in Australia?
It was exciting. I was nervous because I had never worked as a professional here in Australia before. So when I first started the job here, I thought I was good, but in reality I was not. I had to have like a lot of help from the other teammates that are here, especially Anthony, Neo. I give credit to all of those guys to help me out, to develop me from where I was back 1 year ago to where I am now.
For sure. And for anyone who's watching this and maybe they've just finished studying, or maybe they've just moved to Australia, what piece of advice would you provide them?
The main thing that I took from the university and as a professional here is that you don't really want to cling on to the university degree itself, but rather invest your time, rather be it like half an hour or 1 hour a day, but keep it consistent. Learn skills. Like first decide what you want to do. If you want to be a developer, then at least spend, even though if it's like half an hour, spend it, keep it consistent, keep learning stuff. And once you get out to university, that will be the amount of time that you spend learning will compound and make you a lot more better. And when you start applying for jobs, even though you don't have like a professional experience, the time that you've spent there owning your skills will definitely help you out.
100%. It's that, and like you said, the consistency is key.
Yes.
A lot of people, what they do is they set themselves up for failure. Like they say, I'm going to do 3, 4, 5 hours of personal development a day.
No.
And it's just not sustainable.
No.
They might do it for a week, or they might do it for 3 days, and they might do it for a month. But eventually, it'll go out the window. So that setting yourself up for success, even if it's 30 minutes, you can always increase it.
Yes.
Start with 30 minutes, do 30 minutes a day, and get that into the system. And then make that as consistent as it can be. And then, like you said, the results start compounding because you've got all this uni work which is happening in the background, but you're also growing yourself as well. And it's that interesting dynamic, and I'll be interested to get your opinion on this, of like technical skills versus like life and business skills. And they sort of complement each other. How have you found that you've been able to pick up those like business skills that we need with all of our clients and everything that we do on a day-to-day basis, as well as the technical skills?
So the main thing that helped me get all of these skills is passion. You have to have passion there. So if you are forced to do something, you'll just do it for the sake of doing it. But if you are passionate about it, you'll do it because you're curious to do it.
Sure.
And when I first started here, I had like, compared to what I'm now, I had like negative skills on technical skills, and I couldn't really talk with clients. But I had the passion to like talk to clients, explain them what's going on, and the passion to learn things. So on a technical perspective here, I had like help of Anthony, who was the tech lead of our company here, and a lot of the devs like Neo. Especially Neo, because he's been helping out me in React Native. So the main important thing that is that you have to be curious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you stumble upon a problem and you don't know how to solve it, first you have to be like, why is this problem here?
Mm.
And you have to do your own research and see if you can solve the problem or not. But if you are not like passionate enough, you just leave the problem there, hide it on the rug, and in a later time it will bite you.
Of course. Yeah.
On a business perspective here, I've been like getting exposure to talking to clients lately. I couldn't even like utter a word at first when I met the clients. I was like, hello, and then but now I try to engage myself with the clients, explaining them, hey, this is what's going on. Yeah. And we've been working continuously on this thing here. That's why it's taking time. Data. So that the client understands that we've been putting our efforts there, and it calms them down, and we get them satisfied.
Of course, and it's from our point of view, I think the biggest thing is that as long as the client understands what is being worked on, generally they're very open and they're very happy. The biggest challenge from I think software businesses as a whole is because there's such a information gap, there's such a knowledge gap between like say like a non-technical person or a client who doesn't necessarily have all of the technical knowledge and our team who have all of the technical knowledge, because there's such a massive knowledge gap. If there's any information which is like blurred or not communicated properly, you can understand why a client would get frustrated. Because a lot of the time we see that it's their business, and for business owners or for ideas people, one of the biggest things they want is some sort of control, or the feeling that they have control over a situation. And when they're having a development team work on that project, automatically they're handing over a level of control. However, if you work with a team like ours where we're all about communication and transparency, we're trying to give that control back to the client. And a lot of the time what we would push forward is laying out all of the information on the table and saying, hey, look, this is exactly what's going on, here's all of our development options, here's our timeframes, this is what we could potentially do, but then allowing the client to make the best decision that works for their business. It's this sort of like weird thing that happens in the tech space that people want to like
close the doors
and keep all the information.
Yeah.
However, we're the opposite. We're trying to put it all on the table.
Yep. It's like an open kitchen here.
It's an open kitchen. You can see who's making the food. And did you feel like when you arrived at Connect, what we were back then, did you feel like we're a bit different, or you didn't know because you'd never worked in a tech company before at that point?
So first when I arrived here, I was just so overwhelmed that I've been hired. I stayed in my corner doing things that I was assigned to do. I had like zero experience of like talking to clients, real clients here. But gradually, as time passed on, you guys trusted me enough so that I could get involved in client meetings and started talking to clients, explaining them what's going on, what's taking time, what's not going right. Yeah, so the level of trust that you've given me over the time has definitely helped me.
For sure. And if you were to look back now and look at all your different skills and all of your different experience, where do you think you've personally grown the most?
Personally, I've grown both in technical field and as a good communicator. In technical field, I believe that what I learned in the past 7 months when I wasn't hired before, I learned more than that within a week coming here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm always interested in like understanding how people learn and sort of not only just gather information but like hold that information. So for example, how many languages do you speak?
Hindi, Nepalese, English, like 4 languages.
4 languages. Yeah. And how did you learn them? Was it a case of like reading a book and like trying to memorize things?
No, it's just a matter of like listening to words and listening to people talk. Yeah. That's how I got it.
And were you then like, so you were in like a situation where other people were speaking that
Yes.
language and you're trying to pick it up.
Yes,
And,
exactly.
And I imagine it's similar to like the tech.
Yes.
Like you were thrown in with the team.
Yep.
And we have team members writing all of these different programming languages
Mm-hmm.
and all these different sort of structures and
Yep.
strategies, and you were just sort of thrown in there,
Mm-hmm.
and were able to take it by being in there, not necessarily just reading a book and trying to learn.
Nah. So, as I told earlier, you need to have passion to grab something. I had the passion to learn different languages, so even if they were talking on their own, I actively listened to what they were saying, and gradually over time, that consistency, like, allowed me to like speak and learn those languages there on that field. But on technical field, I had the passion to learn more,
Yeah.
get more, gather more. So when I first came here at Connect, the project that I started working on, at first they seemed really sophisticated to me. The code level, the code that the other guys wrote, I was like, no, I can't do that. But over time, I convinced myself that I can do that, and I started asking questions with the other guys here. See what's going on here. Explain me this. Explain me that. And that consistency has really helped me to be what I am today.
Yeah, and I think the biggest word that you said there is the curiosity.
Yes.
And it's I've said it before, and it's sort of like that naivety of you don't know what you don't know, but the thing that balances that out is the curiosity.
Yep.
You have to be comfortable being curious and
Yep.
just asking questions.
Yes.
I'm sure you look back at some of the questions, you're like, oh my god, how
What I was even
yeah.
asking them.
Exactly, but it's the curiosity
Yes.
that gets you to the point where you're able to embrace all of this new knowledge and this new information and continue that growth curve.
Yep.
So obviously you've grown a lot over the past couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
What's next on the radar for Imran in 2023?
First thing is visa.
Yes.
I've been applying for PR. So
Yeah.
the dream of every international here, once they come to Australia, is to get permanent residency.
Yep.
Because the situation here in Australia is way better than any of the countries back in Asia.
Yep.
So once you get here, you get the feeling that you have to stay here.
Mm.
Not just for your own sake, but the sake of your parents, your
Yeah.
family back in Nepal, or back anywhere you're from.
And for those, say like for myself,
Mm-hmm.
what would it mean if you were to get a PR over here for the rest of your family?
So if I get permanent residency here, then I could bring my parents here
Mm-hmm.
easily. And once I get my PR, I won't have like restrictions, even though I don't have restrictions now. But the main problem is that I am in a time frame where the time is always ticking towards my visa ending.
Yep.
So it's always like a separate problem, because you always have to care about your time.
Yeah.
You don't know when it's gonna end. You are always afraid of the time being expired.
Yeah.
That's the main problem. But if you get the PR, that problem gets away, and you get to invest a lot of your time owning your skills, doing all the things that you couldn't spend your time on.
Yeah.
And getting PR means you get to live in Australia indefinitely, and after 2 years of like good behavior, you get to get the Australian citizenship.
Yeah, nice. And you're at one of the final hurdles before hopefully getting the PR, is that right?
Yes, I've got the first invitation as of now. I'm waiting for the second approval.
Yeah.
As soon as I get the second approval, I'll apply for the visa, and hopefully in a couple of months I'll get the PR.
Yeah, that'd be a great day.
Yes, we'll celebrate.
Yeah, for sure. And so what else in 2023? Obviously that's the PR is a key goal, and anything else that you're looking to achieve?
So after I get my approval here, my mentor in PY, he has asked me to come teach students about the experiences that I got as a developer, as a student, as a whole.
Yeah.
So the PY course is not just a course to learn and do stuff there. It's about like sharing experiences, making them comfortable, and making them confident so that they don't get lost when they try applying for jobs or try doing things after they graduate from PR.
So for those who don't know, professional year, that's do you just do once once a week on
once
a
a
weekend?
week, once a week
weekend?
for 9 months.
Yeah.
A reading.
Yeah.
Your mentor guides you.
Yeah.
And the final 3 months is that you have to be in an internship.
Yeah.
Either that can be your own work that you've currently worked on,
Mm-hmm.
or either they can find an internship, but there's no guarantee that the internship that you want and the internship that they provide will match up.
For sure. And what type of things are you doing in the professional year?
So they teach a lot of modules there, like preparing for job interviews, how to write resumes, how to
Yeah.
communicate better,
Yeah.
how to indulge yourself in the Australian culture, things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
That's a general thing.
Yeah, cool. And did you feel like you got a lot from it, or?
Yes,
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Because I got help from Anil
Yeah.
again to prepare my resume, to like focus on my time, my limited time, not just to like live out the day, but just also invest in my skills, which was really fruitful because he he motivated me to spend time on developing my skills, and as a result of him saying that and me spending time for like 7 months, I got the job here.
Yeah, for sure.
If he hadn't motivated me back then, God knows where I would have been here at this time.
For sure. Definitely. Everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
And so for anyone who's overseas, whether in Nepal or all different types of countries, and they're looking to move to Australia, is there any sort of like key information you would give them that you didn't necessarily know when you first moved over?
Don't trust the agents. Do your own research, first of all, because there are a lot of things that the agent themselves don't know back in Nepal.
So this is like the immigration agents,
yes,
and that sort of stuff.
Yep. I don't think I'll get into trouble talking about that, but yeah, do your research, because Australia is open. They've got basically every information that you need on their website.
Yeah.
Do a research. I didn't do it beforehand, so that's why I got into a little bit of trouble, but that's fine. I learned my lesson the hard way. But people who will be coming to Australia, do your own research, and then there are several states or regional places that you can directly get into and gather extra points if you want to get a PR.
Yeah.
And there are things like university scholarships. If you directly talk with them, then they might be able to give you some kind of extra scholarships as well, which the agents will never talk about.
Of course, yeah. So it goes back to what you were saying before with the curiosity.
Yes.
We were talking around the code and the development, but it's also extremely valuable in life as well.
Yes.
And it sounds like there's agents out there who sort of propose some sort of shortcut
and then
ability to get straight in. But it's always worthwhile doing your own research as well.
Yes. If you don't do that, you'll be in a hard situation.
For sure.
And in a country like this where you know no one, and being if you get into that hard situation, some people I've seen people from Asia back from Nepal who couldn't handle the stress and did suicide. A lot of things like that happen. So to prevent from those kind of tragedies, be sure that you research everything beforehand. And before you apply for Australia, be confident that the place that you're choosing for, you can survive there.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And it comes back to what we were mentioning before around the control. I imagine a lot of people would look at it as an agent, as someone who can solve all the problems and give them all of the control. But on the other side, it means you lose all of the control as well.
Yeah.
So it's finding that balance, doing your own research, being comfortable making your own decisions.
Yes.
And not necessarily putting all of your eggs in the basket of an agent.
Never do that. I've learned it the hard way.
For sure. And so it's been a quite a cool journey for you.
Yeah.
Looking back, finishing your high school, intermediate,
Yep.
moving it to a couple of cities in Nepal, and making the leap over here. Are there any lessons that you've learnt along the way? Anything that you would change or approach differently?
If I had to change one thing, is that I should have been curious before I moved to Australia, and I should have followed my passion, which was doing programming.
Mhm.
If I had done it consistently from that point on, I wouldn't have wasted 1 year here after graduating.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then leading up to next year, from a technical point of view, what are some of the key goals that you want to achieve?
I'm really okay with backend, but I hope that next year will bring me time so that I can invest my time on learning backend, so I can be a full stack here.
Yeah, for sure. That's cool. Super exciting. Well, I'm sure you guys can watch Imran's journey over the next 12 months.
Please do.
It's something that we're super excited
Yeah.
about, having seen your growth over the past couple of years.
Mhm.
Like I said, not only technically, but also as a fine young man as well. It's been great chatting.
Thank you.
And I'm excited for 2023.
I am excited for 2023.
It's going to be fun.
Yes.
It's going to be a good ride.
Yes, it's gonna be a good ride. Inshallah.
Awesome.
All right.
Solid. Thanks, man.
Thank you, Andrew.